Hollywood is over a multi-billion-dollar barrel with no good news in sight. It now looks like the Middle Kingdom is giving the middle finger to the Hollyweirds. China ready to ban all US-made movies and maybe even made in other places as well. Today, we'll tell you why the executives in the C-suites of Burbank are furious with Orange Man bad, and China is making them very sad. Hello, folks, and welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we continue to give you what you need to understand entertainment. Keeping you ahead of the culture curve. Yes, indeed, it's what we do every day, and we are so glad that you have come our way. What if we told you that Hollywood is at the very edge of horrifically bad news, the type which we cannot overstate? And it's all because the state of China is such that they're angry about tariffs, and they're going to take it out on Hollywood. What a strange thing to do if you wanted to beat Trump. He's probably doing the YMCA dance at the very thought this could happen. Folks, we'll do the dance if only you click the like button. Let's get started right now. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at this. It's Mario Nawful. And he says China to ban Hollywood films in retaliation for Trump tariffs, $500 million in U.S. box office at risk. Beijing is preparing to ban all American movies in response to Trump's sweeping tariffs, calling U.S. policy blackmail and vowing to fight to the end in the escalating trade war. Now, this is not a guy who throws around rumors just casually. This is someone that we pay attention to, and we appreciate when he pays attention to us, all that sort of thing. That Park Place is covering the story. We take this very seriously. It says China threatens to ban U.S. Hollywood movies in explosive retaliation to the tariffs. Hollywood may finally be paying the price for its years of one-way compromise with China in a stunning escalation of U.S.-China tensions. Reports out of Beijing suggest that the Chinese Communist Party, the Chi-Coms, are preparing to ban American Hollywood movies from its theaters, a move designed to retaliate against President Donald Trump's tariff increase on all Chinese imports. The potential ban could cost Hollywood over $500 million annually and reshape the global entertainment landscape. But this isn't just economic warfare, it's cultural. The U.S.-China trade dispute is no longer a threat on the horizon, it's happening in real time. Now, China is basically saying that they're ready to go to the end with this, and I'll go back now to what Mara had to say. And I'd already read this as I was going through the morning news, checking to see and make sure I'm aware of what's going on. China is saying, in regards to the tariffs, that they will fight to the end, so they're not going to back down. However, in all fairness, it does seem to me that maybe even the majority of countries are now ready to come to the table with the Trump administration and end all tariffs on all sides. And you, folks, you can make of that what you want. You can say that I am whistling past the graveyard. You can say I'm Mr. Blue Sky, or you can say that seems right to you. Up to you on what you want to believe about that. China, on the other hand, is doubling down. They're preparing for economic trench warfare. Is that posturing or is it real? I don't know. However, Hollywood chased after two groups for the past 10 years, maybe longer. They chased after that China money, that Chi-Com dinero, and they chased after wokeism. Those two don't go together, but somehow they tried to mash them up and go after those two. It has not worked, and now China is threatening, we believe, to send Hollywood completely out. By the way, where this puts Disney with their theme parks, we'll get to that in another story. But this is a significant threat to American movie companies that had based their economics around this. At the same time, guys, this has been coming forever. This should not be a shock or a surprise. And if it is, then it is the naivete of the executives in Hollywood to blame, I believe, not the administration. But that could be my own biases speaking. I'll hand it to the panel. What say you in regards to Hollywood being ripped away from the Middle Kingdom?
Well, I think that this was a long time coming. I think China's been looking for an excuse to do this because, Hollywood courted China and nobody bent harder than Disney, with everything that Disney has done. I mean, I have heard reports that there have even been, members of the Chinese Communist Party on set to veto things, that are happening on film sets. But China then, basically owned a part of our cultural heritage in the United States, which was always the plan. And now they are producing their own domestic film. And now those films, they push those much harder, and it is seen as a victory over the United States when those films, perform better than the U.S. blockbusters. There was the phrase "Captain America 4 must die in China." That was the big rallying cry that went out when Captain America 4 came out there. So we've already been seeing China, laugh at Hollywood and take all the concessions and all like the horrible, horrible things that they've forced these studios to bend over backwards to do, and laugh at them while taking it away. I mean, who doesn't remember my favorite clip of all time, the groveling John Cena apology in Mandarin when he called Taiwan a country and then had to grovel before the throne, and they still didn't air his movie.
Yeah. That makes that hints at a very good point here, and that's that John Cena situation should be embarrassing forever, and other actors out there should know that China would rather you apologize and get nothing. They want to dishonor you, to use a word that they would use. So I think that what this specifically is intended to do is take the largest vocal minority in the United States that hates Donald Trump anyways and weaponize them to the rest of the world. The Hollywood elites, the people that are going to be, fantasizing about making that Chinese money, even though it's not that much money when it comes down to it. Companies like Disney, of course, are very reliant on that vaporware of Chinese money to mount up a larger box office number for films like The Last Jedi, obviously one of the highest domestic performing films of all time. But when you look at Avatar and things like that, Disney loves those huge headlines. And then you have these, I don't want to rail against everyone in Hollywood, so if this isn't you, excuse yourself from this comment, but the lazy, entitled, whiny people who don't know about the consequences of communism, to get them activated as much as possible in rallying against Donald Trump, the Republicans, conservatives, Christians, all of these things over there, to try to get back in the good graces of China, or to just be spiteful for an extended period of time. And then, of course, the media follows suit, because no one sniffs around the back end of Hollywood more than politicians and the media. So I think this is just a move to activate, not just a move, but a move to activate the media against Donald Trump.
That's interesting, because they cannot be dumb enough to think that they can threaten Donald Trump by being like, if you don't give us what we want, we're going to hurt the Hollywood studios. Like he's going to be Willy Wonka going, no, stop, don't, please.
please don't give me more chocolate. Folks, to give you an idea of what we're talking about on the Cena thing, because it's been a while. Some people out there are saying, hey, what's the John Cena thing? Here's a clip from Joe Rogan. We don't normally have the possibility of language on the show, but there could be. So, folks, drop a coin in the swear jar, and if your kids are around, cover their ears for just a second. I don't think there's language in it, but there could be. Here's a brief clip.
And the source of power is financial, because $160 million was the opening weekend for Fast and Furious 9, and $134 million of it came from China.
我必须说，现在在疫情中，我做很多采访，很多。
Saying I had many interviews,
在第一个采访，
and in one of them,
我有
I made a
一个
mistake.
错误，所有人
Everyone asked me
如果我可以用中文，
if I can use Chinese.
出于疫情中人
People at Fast and the Furious 9 gave me lots of interview information. I made a mistake. I have to say right now, it's so important. I love and respect China and Chinese people. I'm so sorry for my mistake. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
Yeah. All right, that's enough. I feel I'm embarrassed for him. You know what he's apologizing for?
Testosterone evaporating.
Yeah, he said the word Taiwan, and Pro will say it. Screw it, I don't care. Listen, they have been prostrate before the Chinese, and the Middle Kingdom is giving the middle finger to Hollywood. Kevin, your thoughts on the situation right now where Hollywood made themselves dependent on a bunch of Chi-coms, and now it's not going to be going so well for them if this happens.
I mean, me personally, I say President Pooh Bear, don't threaten me with a good time. I for one can do without the the decades long butt kissing of communists. I'm fine. I'm over it. But this is just the useful idiots being activated and temper tantruming. China knows they don't really have a leg to stand on, especially when it comes to the other orange monster. They're just going to make as much noise and create as much havoc as they possibly can before they negotiate whatever backroom deal they're going to negotiate, so they can try to save face. This is this is just another day in Hollywood.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's go to Ron. I'm going to get your thought on this real quick, but let me go to the Associated Press. See if we can pull this up here. This is why it goes beyond just the movies. China says it will fight to the end. Now, they're not talking about kinetic, we hope, but they're talking about economic. The problem for China, and I hesitate to step into giving analysis here, but the problem for China is that China is largely an export economy. And their export economy is dependent on sending very cheap goods across the world. And those cheap goods are largely manufactured by people who are at the very, very bottom of socioeconomic status, to the point that you might compare it to historic atrocities that we would like to not have in the world anymore, if you get my drift. So the problem for China is that if they do this battle, manufacturing can go to other places. It can go to Vietnam. It can go to Korea. There are other places where it can go to the United States. And the automation of manufacturing that we see within the next couple of years with the robots and all of that stuff, they have a weakness right here. But in the short term, Hollywood could be absolutely decimated by it. Ron, do you think this is posturing? Do you think, because it's been suggested in the conversation, that maybe this is just trying to get the media on their side? Maybe it's part of a psyop. What do you think? Is it real? Is it not real? Are they going to ban the movies or what?
Well, there's definitely some type of strategy. I was almost going to say word for word what Marvin said at the beginning, which is that I think that China's wanted to do this for years. They clearly attempt to change American influence even when we do get our movies into China. The movies are different. Often when they air in China, there's different scenes added for the Chinese audience. And I feel like Hollywood, honestly, they ought to be sick and tired of having to pander to China when they don't even pander to American audiences. You look at that apology from John Cena and you think, where was that type of an apology to American audiences over what Rachel Zegler said that offended so many people about Snow White and the original classic from Walt Disney? We don't get that when it's us, but they get that when it's them. That makes no sense whatsoever to me. As far as I'm concerned, if we did without having to send the movies to China, maybe Hollywood would actually make better movies that served American audiences better, which I would love to see a whole lot more of. I'm guessing that Top Gun Maverick probably didn't go over as well in China as it did here. I could be wrong, but I loved that particular movie. Now I'm just thinking about it in terms of Hollywood. What I would love to see Hollywood cater to the audience that makes them the most money, which would be us in the United States, as well as, of course, Europe and other places in the world. I don't really care what China does. I think that Trump is doing a terrific job, because we can see some of the reciprocation that has happened with other countries already saying, okay, we get it. You know what? We're going to drop these. We as the United States, even though it's like largely kept under the radar, we have been screwed over by other countries with the tariffs that we have to pay for their stuff coming in. And I am sick and tired of it, especially with the trash that we get from China. I know like every Disney product literally is created in China. So Disney's got to be scared as heck. I don't know. I hate to see, Bob Iger has tried to cater to them more than any other CEO that I know of. At least that's very public, right? So I think it's time for a comeuppance in the whole situation. And when it comes to a head, there's going to be a resolution that I hope plays out in a way that works best for everyone. Because let the Chinese audiences have what they want. Let the American audiences have what we want. And I think together we can all put Hollywood in its place, and they can actually make more money in the end.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Ron, actually. And I kind of want to return to the idea of Americans making movies for Americans. They have not done that for a very long time on the big budget level. I think that's part of the reason that everything seems so corporate and homogenized. Okay, I get it. You don't want to have a flag for, was it Tibet or Taiwan that was on Maverick's jacket in the advertising for Maverick. I think it actually ended up in the final film, even though whoever the enemy was that they were fighting, they never quite named whoever that enemy was in the film. But you can't get a Rocky IV in a situation where they want that movie to play well in China. I know that Rocky IV was not in China, it was in Russia, but you can't have a movie where Rocky goes to fight a Chinese boxer and trains in the Chinese mainland and beats the tar in the end out of a Chinese boxer. You can't have that Apollo Creed revenge, avenging story in a movie built under the circumstances of trying to appeal to a global audience. So I think that this might actually allow for some more testosterone-fueled patriotic films that we probably are all very open to right now in the American market. They make more money in the United States than they do in any other country in the world when it comes to movies. So, and we also get better franchises. I don't know if we have any franchises that were intended for a global audience that are getting repeated and bringing in the big bucks. I'm tired of it. I watched Tombstone the other night and I'm thinking, there's no way they made this to appeal to a Chinese audience. I want good movies again, and I think that this will lend towards that. And if America is going to be a cultural superpower, it starts with movies.
That's right. Two thoughts I have as we get ready to wrap this one. First of all, Ron was talking about how the Chinese audience can get what they want and Americans get what they want. Folks, I hate to say this, but there's no way to know what Chinese audiences want. And the reason for that is because everything that Chinese people do, and we love the Chinese people, by the way, right? I mean, we're not making an ill statement about Chinese people. We're making an ill statement about the way their government functions because we have a different world view. And I think that's very clear. We have a Western way of seeing things. We believe in the individual. We believe in individualism beyond the collective. And by the way, we believe that rights come from God, right? You are divinely embedded with rights by virtue of being human. That is not the Chinese model. The Chinese model is the state reigns supreme. Well, the transactional powers in China, right? Your decision-making in China, the consumer, all of it is graded by a social credit system in China. And so whether you go see a Chinese movie or an American movie, that gets graded. It's impossible to know what Chinese people want because even down to the fabric softener they buy, it's graded in a social credit score app. And that determines their status in the country. Are they a good supporter of the Chi-Coms or not? So it's a bizarre thing, but we love Chinese people. And the second thing that I would say in regards to the situation with China is that Walt Disney bet the farm repeatedly on the American people. When he made Snow White, he bet everything on it. When he made Disneyland, he bet everything on it. When he did the Florida project, he didn't get to live to see it, but he bet it all. And he won over and over. The reason they're mad today, the reason the Hollyweirds are mad, Bob Iger bet it all on China. His legacy was supposed to be Shanghai Disney. And now he's high and dry. in China.
If there's actual aggression and not just this quiet Cold War style stuff, then there is no way that Disney gets to keep that. I think that the economic damage that will expose will be catastrophic for the Disney company.
And folks, we have come to the end yet again. Another video of excellence in the can. What a joy it has been to share time with you. We hope you enjoyed it as well. If so, consider clicking that like button. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. And as always, drop a comment down below. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, so waste not yours. Join a community dialogue today, just on down below. Folks, we are going to say farewell for now, but we will see you back for is more, and that's how many videos we put out every single day here on the Pro Channel. Hope you enjoy them all. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Jump into the water. Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro Channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun. Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio. What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.